Hi, welcome to Everyday Extraordinary Women. This week's video, we're going to meet my friend and trainer, Aimee Zannoni. She's an actress, dancer, stunt woman, director. So grab a cup of tea and join us. You, I feel like, are just extraordinary. I wanted to hear about how your journey into the entertainment business started.
Well, I come from a very musical family, and my mom is a musician, and she did some conducting and stuff like that. So I always grew up around music, and my mom being directing stuff, and I being backstage. And I used to play piano with my mom. Like, I would listen while she played and hear the songs, and then when she got up to go, like, pay attention to my dad or something, I would play it by ear.
Really?
Yeah. But because you hear it so much, and so you kind of start to figure it out, and then you get a little better at figuring it out faster. But no, I wasn't spectacular at playing by ear. So I tried to learn, except my piano teacher used to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches during our lesson. And his breath smelled. So I did not want to take piano anymore after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
So I moved on. I did a lot of musical theater and a lot of singing, and I wanted to go into the Peace Corps or law school.
Oh.
And the Peace Corps, you had to have a college degree for them to take you seriously, and I was like, that's kind of strange. So I was going to go to law school.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was a lot of sitting down, and I was just a very antsy person. I have a lot of energy. So I was like, this is going to kill me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So to blow off some steam, I took a dance class, and I loved it. And then I did a lot in the musical theater, and then loved dance. And then the dance department was like, you can't do as much dance if you're still in the theater program. And dance was very challenging. So I was like, I'm going to go with the super challenging. It was a lot of moving, a lot of dancing, 8-hour days, and then doing a lot of physiology and kinesiology and anatomy classes and how to fix yourself and biomechanics. And I love all that because I'm a science geek.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is so cool. I get to learn all about the body. So that was my foundation.
So when you came out to LA...
Oh, yeah. So it's 2001.
2001. And what did you focus on first?
Getting a job.
Okay.
Because I had $6,000 to my name.
Okay.
I found a job raising money for the Amundsen and the Mark Taper Theater. So I did that, and I auditioned, and I did a lot of indie film at first. And I got cast pretty regularly in small parts and independent stuff. A lot of it was crap, you know?
Yeah.
But I was just happy to have people say yes to me, which was a good feeling. And I know that some people don't get that lucky right away, so it was a good confidence booster.
Yeah. So how did you get into stunts? How did all of that lead you to the stunt world?
When I came out to LA, I started acting and dancing right away. And I danced in a bunch of different companies. And one of the companies was Diavolo Dance Theater. It was very aggressive. There's a lot of acro and a lot of moving set pieces that were very heavy. And it was one of those very fast-moving paced companies where you're creating in the moment. Nobody knows what anybody else is going to do next. But when you add that into not knowing what's next and also flipping off of things, I don't know who's going to be down there. I like to practice something, know what's coming next, feel it out, get my timing, repeat that a few times, and then I feel like, okay, cool. I'll try that risky thing, which is what stunts is.
Yeah.
Kind of. Sometimes you don't really get to practice. If it's like an explosion, it's an explosion. You're not going to set up pyrotechnics for you to feel comfortable.
Right. So you left the dance company.
I got fired.
Oh, okay. Did that set you back a little bit?
I had a broken arm, so I couldn't teach Pilates. That was my side job. And I couldn't really dance, and I can't really be acting with the cast. That's weird. The uncertainty of the arts really leads you to accepting a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally accept if you had a little money in your savings account. So this is where things kind of shifted.
Okay.
And got very strange. My manager called me and he said, you have an audition tomorrow for a Las Vegas show. Go to the audition. And I was like, Tommy, I'm not going to this audition. I'm a breakdancer. I'm an acrobat. I'm a modern dancer. I don't dance with shoes on. Now I'm going to go from like barefoot and head spinning to like high heels and fishnets Just go. He was so mad at me. Just go and make some money.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I went to this Flippin Audition. I was expecting like showgirl movement, and I was like this really weird old cheerleader lady who I swear was like 60 years old, teaching us these moves from the 80s. It was like, what is happening? And so I thought it was a joke. Like I started kind of like laughing to myself, and maybe a little out loud during the audition. Like, this is for real. This is crap. I think my lightheartedness during the audition got me the job. So I pack up everything and I moved to Las Vegas. And then they call me and they're like, go to your hotel room. When you get settled in, call us. So I did. They didn't even know who I was. I said, this is Aimee. I'm supposed to call this number when I get here. Who? What's your name? I was like, this feels weird. I have like a car full of my belongings. And I was staying at like this hooker hotel that they put me up at. It's like Prostitute Central. It's the weirdest experience. Then they're like, you have to audition for your spot tonight. Audition for my spot. Does that mean I don't have a spot? Well, you have to fight for it. And, you know, you may or may not. So I was like, I hate this moment.
Yeah, right.
So I had rehearsal, and it was a lot of pressure.
Like, I'm sweating,
Audition
and I'm just
thing.
listening to the story.
It was so nerve-wracking.
Oh.
So what I wound up staying in the show.
Okay.
And it was the longest running show in Las Vegas. We had jugglers, we had comedians, and it was a fun show for the audience to go see. Mm-hmm. As a very serious artist, it was the worst show to do. Right. And I felt like such a hack. You know? I was just like, what am I doing? So that was Vegas, and I got out, and then I did a show in New York, which was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of good press and good reviews. And then after that show ended, I moved back to LA and was like, crap, I'm doing this all over again. I think in the time I've lived in LA, I've moved 10 times. Yeah. I even slept on tree lawns for a few nights. But it's LA, it's good weather.
So did that lead you to Stunts then?
Yeah, I was a shoo-in for it because I had a physical background and I was petite enough to double kids.
Do you have to retrain your body and what you know about movement to become a stunt person, or did it come pretty naturally?
I did have to do a lot of training. Mm-hmm. So to prove myself to other people and to myself that, well, and there's just a lot of like stuff that's just specific to just stunts.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't normally do. Like pretending to punch someone but punching next to their face is not what you do in martial arts. Right. And then you're practicing reactions so that it really does look like you're in pain. And also learning how to do the aggressive stunts correctly multiple times. Yeah. Without flinching because you know what's coming. Oof. That's, I think, the trickiest thing. If somebody's whacking you with a tire. Oh, God. Whacking you with a tire? Crashing into a car.
I feel like that really happened to you. Nobody just says that.
No, that's like,
boom. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So that kind of led you to doing fitness and teaching a lot of like Pilates and yoga, and so how has that led you to starting your own company?
I love to work out, and so I have to find an excuse to validate the hours in a day that I would like to be active. So I had to pick an active career. So I started my own fitness company. It's called Z Physique Fitness because Z Physique was taken.
Boo.
Boo. And I started a company basically because my students that I was teaching at gyms and other studios and facilities that were not owned by me were asking me, like, do you teach, like, what you know? Yeah. So then I was like, maybe I should just start my own company with a price plan so everybody kind of knows what's what. And they can decide what package they fit into or what's based on their goals.
So what's been the most fun thing about starting your own business?
The most fun thing would be seeing people succeed. Yeah. When they didn't think that they would as well.
When they didn't believe. But you always believe.
I always believe in them. Mm-hmm. It's just science, so. So
you also have this passion for directing.
I do.
You do. And so just share with us a little bit, like, maybe where that came from and how you are moving into that direction.
The passion for directing, I think, came from my love to teach. Mm-hmm. And I also have a zany imagination. Yes. So it's a good outlet for that. Very strange ideas. And it's a good outlet that I can control. I can create the story, and I can tell it how I want.
So do you have any directing projects that you're working on? Tell us about that.
So right now I'm writing a animation short film about my family's immigration to the United States.
Oh.
Yeah, it's told through the eyes of a little girl who's my great-great-grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Comes from Ireland to America because of famine, no money. And I think, you know, that is a very strong story for me right now because it sums up my journey in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have certain expectations of what you think you're going to become or what you're going to be when you're older, how things are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're met with the reality of how things are. And then I have some other projects that I have in the can, and I'm just editing them creatively in different ways to see what else I can make out of them.
I can't wait. I'm so excited about all these projects. For the women out there that have these dreams and visions and a calling and like certain goals they want to achieve, what advice would you give to them?
I would say find a mentor right away, but somebody who is the real deal, that likes you and wants you to succeed. And when you find that person, stick by their side and ask them as many questions as you can.
Yeah.
And then find a good team, but, you know, keep a close watch over your heart and your time and who you let talk in your ear. You know, because people, they say certain things to destroy you slowly over time because they're mean people.
There are mean people in this world.
And they pose as friends at times. And then there's just people who just being around them pulls you down.
Yeah.
Because their philosophies are, you know, not in line with yours.
Anything else you want to say?
Come up with a really strong savings plan for yourself that starts at a very young age and you don't waver on. And so if people could stick to that and still do what they like as best as they know how.
Do that.
So that by the end of your journey, struggling to be an artist or trying to reach your goals, whatever they may be, you have a life that isn't dependent on your job working out. Because you can get fired, you can get laid off, you can get not cast again. Your security just depends on your habits over time.
Yeah, that's so good.
All
You're
right.
so wise. Well, thank you for joining us today on Everyday Extraordinary Women. And if you would like to learn more about Aimee and her company Z Physique, you can find her on
www.zphysiquefitness.com and Z Physique Fitness on Instagram and Aimee Zannoni on Instagram, and both have a Facebook. Aimee Zannoni Facebook and Z Physique.
And I'll put all of that down below in the description.
Tweet me.
And if you have any questions, she's very generous and I'm sure she would answer them. So feel free to reach out to her or leave a comment below and I can respond for her as well. So
Yeah, that'd be great. Find me on YouTube, watch some fitness videos. If you like them, leave a comment below and reach out.
Yeah, but thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.